Kia ora, and welcome to Thursday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz. And today we lead with news all markets have been waiting for the US Fed decision. And as expected, they have cut their key policy rate by 25 basis points, with the targeted range now 4.25% to 4.5%. Progress on taming inflation gets the main credit from them. As we publish, Chairman Powell has yet to hold his press conference, so more about their thinking will be revealed then. But this move takes their rollback to 100 basis points since August and back to the level they had at the start of 2023. A slower pace of cuts are expected in 2025. Meanwhile, US mortgage applications slipped slightly last week, ending a run of 5 straight weeks of gains to be 6% higher than year-ago levels and a bit more activity on the purchase side. US housing starts, however, unexpectedly fell in November and by 1.8% to an annualised rate of 1.3 million units, the lowest in 4 months. Only in 1 month since the pandemic has it been this low. American consumers may say they are feeling more optimistic, but they aren't showing it in their housing markets. And Japanese exports rose in November and by more than expected, to be at the upper end of the monthly range in 2024. It was a rise that beat expectations. But imports fell, and by much more than expected, to a 3-month low and to the average level of 2024. In Malaysia, their exports also rose by much more than expected, and like Japan, their imports, which were also expected to surge, didn't. Obviously, not every country can have rising exports and falling imports, but those that do count themselves as winners on the international trade arena. For Malaysia, however, this is a rare monthly result, a small balance of a long period when imports exceeded exports. And the Indonesian central bank kept its policy rate unchanged at 6% in a meeting late yesterday. In Hong Kong, a major builder, New World Development, which recently posted a large and unusual loss, is reportedly trying to renegotiate its loan obligations with banks. Not a great sign for them, and indications China's property sector woes are impacting Hong Kong directly now, rather than just Chinese companies listed in Hong Kong. And in Australia, a major builder there, APH Holdings, has gone under. This is notable because it too is Chinese-owned. And staying in Australia, ASIC is suing crypto company Binance for consumer protection failures. More than 500 retail clients were denied important protections after being misclassified as wholesale clients. That's as alleged by ASIC in federal court yesterday. And still in Australia, their mid-year budget update by the federal government shows a slightly smaller deficit in 2024-2025 than what was presented in May, but larger deficits over the next 3 years. All up, that's a cumulative deficit increase of 22 billion Australian dollars. In Brazil, their currency, the real, depreciated to a record low of 6.16 to the US dollar as mounting fiscal concerns, inflationary pressures and political uncertainty drove an investor loss of confidence there. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now just on 4.40% and up 1 basis point from this time yesterday. And the price of gold will start today at $2,634 an ounce and down $7 from yesterday. But oil prices are back up $1.50 to be just on $71 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is now just on $74 a barrel. And the IEA says coal consumption hit a record high in 2024, led by China and capping a 30-year surge. They also say this is probably peak coal and that the transition is to renewables. But that is not certain because India's use is rising fast. In the meantime, Australia is set to become the 4th largest producer by 2027, surpassing both the US and Russia. And the Kiwi dollar starts today at just on 57.2 US cents and down 40 basis points from yesterday. That makes it the lowest level in more than 2 years. Against the Aussie, we're down 20 basis points at 90.7 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're also down 20 basis points at 54.6 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just on 67.35 and down 25 basis points from yesterday at this time. And that is also more than a 2-year low since October 2022. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $104,225 and down 2.5% from yesterday. Volatility over the past 24 hours has been moderate, just on plus or minus 2.1%. And today is the final day our Auckland office is open in 2024. It'll be our holiday service until 2025 from there. Our daily and weekly free email newsletters are getting a break until then, but our databases and rate tables will continue to be updated as changes are reported. And this podcast will continue through the holiday period. We wish you all a fun, safe and relaxing break. You can find links to the articles mentioned today in our show notes, and you can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.